1098-765-4321.
Nah, I'm glad she did it the right way. 1098-765-4320.
Yeah, I was always showing off.
I went to Brooklyn Tech, man.
Microphone check.
This is HUR Voices on SiriusXM Radio Channel 141 with your hosts Carl Brown and Sharrarne Morton.
Welcome to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM Channel 141, HUR Voices.
Yeah.
Hey, this is your host, Carl Brown, and I got in the studio with me today, Miss Sharrarne Morton.
Every Thursday. What are you talking about, Carl? Not just today. Hello, everybody.
That's right. That's right. Give them some juice.
Give them some juice. And look, I need everybody to go to my website, mortonmediatv.com, if you're interested in getting any kind of media services, mortonmediatv.com. We produce this show. So, what does that say? It's a great show, right, Carl?
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, look, I've had a fabulous week.
That's a good thing.
Last
week was good too.
Oh yeah. Last week was off the charts, and this week is well.
Okay.
I went to my first board meeting.
Okay.
This week.
Board meeting for what board?
For the Americas SBDC.
Small Business Development Center. That's right. Yeah.
That's right. My first one.
Congratulations for being a board member, by the way.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And, I was a little nervous because I had never been there before.
Uh-huh.
But then, when I got there and I said, well, hey, I got an equal seat at the table
with
everybody else.
Yes.
And participated.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to be there and just be there and not say anything.
Right.
But then when you can give to the organization, and that's what I was doing this week. So
and guess how many people wish they had a seat at the table. So kudos to you.
I know. And I represent all those that wish they had a seat at the table.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
speaking of seat at the table, who are we having? Our first guest.
Oh, my God. We're going to have someone that's going to teach us how to get some money.
That's right. And sometimes that helps you to get a seat at the table when you have some money, right?
Well, if you got some money, you're going to have a seat at
the table.
That's
right.
Always.
That's right.
So
okay.
We got Rod Johnson, who is from the SBA. He is the Lending Relations Specialist. And he's going to talk to us about how to get a loan from an alternative lender, commercial bank, credit union, or micro lender.
That's some good stuff right there. And we also have Ron Lewis. He's the founder and CEO of AtWork, and he's going to tell us what AtWork can do for you. So we got a great show, don't we, Carl?
Got a great show coming up, so stay tuned here on SiriusXM Channel 141.
This is HUR Voices on SiriusXM Radio Channel 141 with your hosts Carl Brown and Sharrarne Morton.
Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM Channel 141. We got Mr. Rod L. Johnson from the SBA.
Small Business Administration.
Small Business
Yes,
Administration.
we gotta tell our listeners those acronyms, what they mean.
I know,
Some people don't know.
I'm bad. But the Small Business Administration, this brother has a wealth of knowledge, decades of experience in the banking and lending area. He is the Lending Relations Specialist for the SBA. Welcome to the show, Rod.
Thank you for having me, Carl.
So, Rod, I guess you're going to tell all of our listeners how they can go about getting a loan from non-traditional lending institutions, right, hopefully?
Well, we'll start with traditional lenders,
okay.
And then we'll move to non-traditional lenders.
Well, anytime,
right.
I know before we started the show, you said, it's really easy to get this money. So we're going to hold you to that.
Yeah.
Well, you got to follow the blueprint, though. You got to hear what he has to say.
Okay, yeah.
He makes it easy.
Yeah, okay.
But you gotta follow the leader. So what is the minimum FICO score the owner of a business needs to qualify for a loan?
All right. So according to SBA regulations, it is a 650.
Oh,
FICO
okay.
score.
Right.
That's not bad at all. I mean, most people think probably in the sevens they need, the 700s, but 650?
650 for an SBA product.
Okay.
But you're correct, 700 for the banks.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So it's good to go to the SBA. It seems like they have a little bit more flexibility.
Well, the SBA is not a direct lender, and a lot of people do think that the SBA is a direct lender. You work with your bank, and then the bank approaches the SBA to get the deal done.
I'm assuming the SBA guarantees the loan to some extent.
We're guarantors. Yes,
Yeah.
we provide anywhere from a 50 to 90% guarantee depending on the loan product.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's some good stuff right there. By the way, what's the SBA website for our listeners that they can go to and get this information?
Yes, www.sba.gov.
Okay.
All right.
And once they get on the website, because there's a lot of information
Oh,
on
there's
the
a wealth of
SBA
information.
website, where do they go once they get on the SBA.gov? Will they just type in like lending or loans?
And they can type in lending. They can type in business planning. There's a wealth of things out there on the website, how to win a government contract.
Okay.
I mean, there's just a plethora of information. But what I would tell people to do is actually to sign up for the newsletter so that they can get the information that comes out weekly from the SBA.
That's a good idea right
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
And they're our partner.
Yeah.
You know, the small business development centers are partners with the SBA. I mean, so
yeah.
one can't live without the other.
Yep. So what's the minimum? You told us the minimum FICO score, Rod. What's the minimum Dun & Bradstreet Paydex score to get a loan? And explain what that means, the Dun & Bradstreet Paydex score. What is that?
All right, so think of Dun & Bradstreet as the FICO for business.
Okay.
All right, so the measuring rod is 0 to 100. That's your that's the score.
Okay.
Now the minimum Paydex, think of the Paydex like your personal FICO score.
Right.
So the minimum Paydex is 55.
Okay.
However, most lenders are looking for a Paydex score of 80 and above.
Okay. Okay.
So now if you walk into a traditional bank and you're looking for, I'm going to go a little high here. So if you're looking for a $500,000 line of credit, if you have a FICO score of 700 and a Paydex score of 80, your business is showing profitability, you stand a very good chance of getting that $500,000.
Okay.
All right.
That's
now.
good news right there.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
every single business needs money.
Yes. To
That is
survive.
the lifeblood of any business.
Of anybody.
Well, true.
Yeah. So a lot of people have never heard of a Paydex score. I mean, what exactly is it? Is it just basically what your business credit score is?
Okay, so again, think of it as your FICO score. So what that measures is how you pay your vendors.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
say that
it-
again.
Okay.
it
yeah.
How you
measures
pay your vendors.
How you pay your vendors.
Yeah.
So the banks report to it, and whomever your vendors are actually report into the Dun & Bradstreet report.
Interesting.
And so let's say you have 30-day terms with your vendor, but you're paying them in 45 to 60 days, then
You're not gonna have a good
you're not
Paydex score.
Not going to have a good Paydex score.
Okay.
That's,
Okay.
that's,
That's
that
good.
55.
Yes.
So that's that 55. This is not baseball where batting a 340 is good. Okay.
Okay, so people need to know that, especially our small business owners. They need to know that their vendors are reporting whether they're paying on
That's
time.
right. Just
A lot
like
of people
they're
don't know
reporting
that
about you.
You're-
You need to report about them.
about the vendors.
about
Yes.
your vendors.
Is there a way to report that?
Absolutely.
Do you
It's not
report that
just
on the
a woman.
Paydex as well?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that
'Cause
they
you-
can
you have
report on their vendors.
Yeah, you have vendors that feed off of your business too.
Right, but I'm saying a lot of people may not know that they can report their vendors to this pay. Is it the Paydex
Yeah, the
reporting system?
Dun & Bradstreet.
Bradstreet.
Dun &
Okay.
Bradstreet. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I've been doing this so long. It's
I know,
like
Carl.
it just rolls off.
off. Yeah, but you have to remember all the people out there.
I know,
they don't
I know. And
No.
that's
Yeah.
why we
They
want to
don't
hear.
know.
That's
to,
right,
To,
that's
to
right.
give them that knowledge
Yeah.
so that they can move forward.
Yeah. So, did you want to ask that next
Yeah,
question, Carl?
you know, how many years of business tax returns, personal tax returns, and what other information is needed to get a loan?
All right. So we have to look at two issues.
Okay.
One, if you're a startup, then you're really not going to have historical data.
Right.
All right. So if you're a startup, then of course we're looking for the business plan. Please do not submit a 50-page business plan because it will not get read.
Okay.
And so if you keep it to about 10 pages, including your financial projections, all right, that's a good business package.
Right.
And Carl and his people will help you with that at the
That's right.
SBDC.
For
They
free.
sure will.
Okay.
For free, yeah.
For free.
So his group will help you with that. Now, if you are an established business, and let's just say 2 years or more in business, but we'll use 3 as the average, 3 years.
Okay.
3 years of business tax returns, 3 years of personal tax returns, right? Then you need to complete a personal financial statement, which you can find at sba.gov, okay, and complete that. Then we're in the month of November. All right, so then we would need the 10-month balance sheet, income statement, accounts receivable, accounts payable aging, and if you're a government contractor, whether municipal, local, or federal government contractor, then we need a contract backlog report for the same period.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of stuff. A lot of
Well,
information.
that shows that you have money coming in.
And you need
know.
that for the loan. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I left one thing off. 3 months worth of bank statements.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Business bank statements.
Business bank statements.
We were talking
Yes.
at one time, Carl. Remember, I think one show we were saying people were mixing up their, or maybe they didn't have a business
Right, a
account.
business
they were
account.
using their
They were
personal
personal
account. That's
Yeah.
a no-no, right, Ron?
Do not commingle. Commingling is what
Yep.
you're talking about.
Right,
So do
yeah.
not commingle your funds. And so a
Yeah.
lot of people will form what we call a single member LLC.
Yes.
Okay. And so, the deposits from performing on the contract, we'll say performing on the contract, will go in to the business account.
Okay.
But let's just say that you're coming up a little short in your personal account. So what people will do is, let's just say to go get your hair and nails done, then they'll go ahead and dip in to the business checking account to pay for a personal expense
Right.
when that's not what you're supposed to be doing at all.
Right.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
right.
And they should know that, I think.
So while we were in the green room,
You should see the faces Rod's making.
well, it's true. I wish we were on TV.
Well,
'cause,
unless you're on TV, I mean, those are
Yeah.
expenses that you can write off, by the way. If you know that, you can write off hair and makeup if you're in TV. But if you're not, then you certainly can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead. What were you saying
No,
in the
I was
green
going
room?
to say while we were in the green room, we talked about retained earnings. So, want to talk about that?
Okay, so we're going to assume that your company is profitable. And so instead of going out and purchasing the Maserati, okay, we're looking for the company to retain some earnings. Now, we understand that if you're an LLC, that typically about 40% of the company's net profits will be used to pay taxes.
Yes.
All right, but other than that, you need to retain the rest of those funds in the company. There are 2 ways to grow the company: retaining earnings and then debt to the company. Understand that equity, right, costs you more than debt does. So debt is cheaper to grow your business than retain earnings.
Interesting. That's
I
interesting.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
let's-
why is debt cheaper?
All right, so about 2 weeks ago, the Federal Reserve did lower the prime rate to 4.75%.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're looking for equity into your company, then typically the investors are looking for an 18 to 20% return on their money.
Okay.
Okay. And so therefore that equity that's being injected into your company actually costs more money
Wow.
for your business to grow.
Okay. So it's
So,
Go ahead,
I'm
Carl.
just going to say we got about 30 seconds. Why don't you give them, how can people get in touch with you so they can start this process?
Oh, yes. Please feel free to call me at 240-997-4024. One of the things I do for small businesses is if you call me, you pull your package together, send it to me at roderick.johnson@sba.gov. And
We'll be right back. But when we come back, I want to talk about how long should a bank take to get a loan?
Yeah, yeah. And I also want to ask him some more questions about what we were just talking about, the debt and all
Absolutely,
of that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be right back after these messages here on the Small Business Report on SiriusXM Channel 141, HUR Voices. We're talking to Roderick Johnson. He's a lending relations specialist with the Small Business Administration. Roderick, you were just saying that people can reach right out to you directly. Did you say Roderick?
Yes.
Johnson at SBA.gov?
Yes.
And so they can pull together what again if they want you to look at their packages?
So they can pull their financial package together, send it to me. I will review it
Okay.
For completeness. I will do a small down and dirty analysis to see if the company actually cash flows, determine the amount of debt that the company can repay, and then I'll typically send their package out to 3 different banks to bid on the business.
And this is free.
This is free.
Oh my goodness, you can't beat that, right, Carl?
I'm telling you.
And that's what you all do
We
too. The Small
bring
Business Development Center does that as well.
Resources to small businesses every single day.
For free.
For free.
Yeah, there's no excuse, right?
None.
Yeah.
We eliminated the barriers and the bars to entry to this game of small business.
And because it's not an easy game to play. It's
and
really tough being a small business owner.
You know, the trend is small business growth has been going down for about 40 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was increasing.
Well, so did I, but the trend is that it's going down, and part of the problem I think is people just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that's why it's important for us to be out here talking to the community via the radio, and then we do a lot of outreach.
Right.
I mean, we're out there every day. So to get people informed so that they can make a decision whether or not they want to get into this game of small business.
Small business ownership. Yeah. Yeah.
Organization, structure, discipline, perseverance are the qualities that a small business owner needs to have to be successful.
Yeah.
From a financial standpoint, I would say about 12 to 18 months of reserves need to be on hand before you open your doors.
When you say reserves, you mean reserve money needs to be on hand that you can
operate
operate on
Operating.
and live on. You have to have money to live on as well, unless you're going to keep your job on the side.
Well, we would prefer that you're all in. Okay? All in.
That's a hard one right there.
Okay.
Sometimes, being all in and not getting a steady paycheck, because you have a lot of people who, still have to work part-time in order to make certain that they get a steady income. But you're saying SBA prefers that you be 100% business owner.
That you're all in.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right.
I'm gonna tell you, a buddy of mine that was very successful in his business endeavors. His blueprint was always, I got to have at least 12 months of operating expenses
Right.
for that business.
Yeah.
Payroll, the whole 9,
Yeah.
before he would open the doors.
Okay.
And he was extremely successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
His businesses did not fail.
Sometimes it takes a year or two, though, before you begin to see profitability. I've heard that a lot, that it can take up to 2 years before you start seeing profits.
Well,
What do you
you-
say about that, Rod?
Well, it's typically about 3 years to break even.
Oh, wow.
After year 3, then you should begin to, see some small profitability.
So that's scary, though, for a lot of people out there considering starting a small business. They have to, 3 years, that means a lot of times they do have to have another job on the side. What do you say to them about that? How are you all in when it's going to take you 3 years to make money?
Starting a small business is not for the faint of heart.
That's right.
So how explain that?
So-
That's not churning correctly in my head. If you aren't going to make money for 2 to 3 years, even if you put aside 1 year, what do you do for that
that's
other year or two?
Now, remember, that's 1 year for the business.
Yeah. That's-
Okay,
yeah.
so, but I also say that there should be what you call your long-term rainy day fund,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that is above and separate from the 12 months to 18 months of operating expenses,
Right.
okay, that the business will incur.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so there should be, and so here's the thing: if you think you're going to go in business, keep your overhead low.
Yeah.
Very low.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
low, okay?
Run your business out of your house if you have to. You know.
you can,
If
yeah.
you can, yeah. Which a lot of businesses are doing.
Yeah, a lot of businesses start in the garage
yeah.
or in the man cave or woman cave, right? And for a while.
And there's nothing wrong with
and
that.
there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that at all. Okay.
Instead of running out and paying a bunch of money in a lease,
For office space
For office
that you're not
space.
even going to use.
Right.
Well, let's back up from the office space for a minute.
Okay.
Not renting an apartment on H Street at the Apollo for $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You said not renting for
Not
$3,000.
renting for $3,000. That's what
Right.
a 645 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment leases for.
In Harlem.
No. H Street.
Oh,
H
I thought you
Street.
said at the Apollo.
No,
I'm sorry.
the name of the apartment is the Apollo.
Oh, the Apollo. Okay.
Yeah.
It's $3,000 for
3,000
645 square feet.
645 square feet.
Wow.
$3,000 a month. Then you pay extra for the garage parking.
The parking, yeah.
Okay.
And you got your
So-
cable and your
You gotta
utilities.
be crazy.
Yes.
do
Okay.
that.
So you're saying if you're a small business owner,
Keep your living expenses
Low,
low.
right.
Very
Yeah,
low.
right.
Okay. If you need to have a roommate, 2, 3, or 4, okay.
Do it.
Or
Then
if you
do
gotta
it.
live in somebody else's basement.
Okay. And you
Yeah.
don't need to drive the 750 IL
Right.
BMW. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to drive the Ford Focus for a while.
right.
That's
Okay.
right.
They
Yeah.
keep the
Or
expenses
have
low.
no car at all.
Or have no car note at all.
Yeah, no
right?
car
Yeah.
note.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You
you're
know?
keeping it real, which we like. Our listeners need to hear this, because when they're either considering opening a business or they're running a business, they need to know it's not all glamour. It's not glamorous at
exactly.
all.
I'm gonna put up my poster child is Dana Holly,
Dana. Oh, right. Yes. Who we had on the
did
show.
everything in her business.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. She's the one that owns the
Assisted living
living. Yeah.
facilities,
She
two
was
of
the
them.
she was the cook.
The
She
cook,
the bathroom cleaner. She
the
cleaned up after
washed
the people.
clothes,
Yeah, she did everything.
took them
And
to the
lived
doctors
there.
and lived there.
in the
I
living
mean, she
assistance place.
sacrificed so that she can have what she has now.
Right, but it was a sacrifice.
It was
for
a
sure.
sacrifice,
Yeah.
and owning a business
It
is
is
a sacrifice.
That is so true.
So
Yeah.
I keep hearing about the SBA and what it is that they do for small businesses. So can you elaborate on that? I mean, I know I'm a partner, and so, but we want the audience to know.
All right. So I would always tell people to start out with SCORE, okay, which is the retired executives. And these retired executives come from many different industries. And so if you need assistance with your business plan, because sometimes call shop may be backed up with assisting, new business owners. So come on down to Southwest and get off at the Federal Center Southwest Metro Station. Come to SCORE. Let those gentlemen help you pull your business plan together. All right, so that's the first part. Then the second part may be you just may need a micro loan, okay? And so there are various places that you can go to get that loan for even $500. So I'm going to make a
That's
plug
right.
here for Life Asset because they'll do a business loan for as small as $500 on an unsecured basis.
Life Asset
Life
is the name
Asset.
of the company.
Life Asset is the name of the company.
Okay.
And they'll do a loan as small as $500 on
Unsecured.
an unsecured. And you don't need a 650 FICO score.
Oh, you don't need.
So they'll go below the 650 and still make that loan.
That's good to know, Carl. We
Oh,
need to
yeah.
let our
For
audience
people
keep that
that-
in mind. Yeah, Life Asset.
because it's not a cookie cutter approach.
Right.
Number one.
Right.
And you have to have tools for people at all levels.
Well, and speaking of all levels, what does the SBA do for people who are already small business owners and they still, you need support as a small business owner, ongoing support?
Well, we can still send them to the SBDCs
Right.
because the SBDCs provide various trainings for business owners to continue to grow.
Lots of workshops,
Okay,
Carl's
so
shop
there are a lot
does.
of workshops that you can attend, and they may be $20, Carl.
Most free.
of them are free.
Some,
Yeah, most of them are free.
because some of them are
Some of them were like $10.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I call that a nuisance tax because 80 people would register and 8 would show up. And we made 80 packets.
Oh,
you know?
wow, yeah.
So, yeah, we would charge them $10. And guess what? You know what? If 18 people registered, 18 people showed up because they got their $10 worth.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, does the SBA? Well, we only have 2 minutes left, but the SBA, are there any
Well, we focus on
workshops?
the programs, okay? So there's typically the 2 signatures, the 7A program and the 504 program.
Yeah,
Okay.
we talked about the 504.
And the 504 is primarily used for commercial real estate, but you can also use it for equipment. But the 7A you can also use for commercial real estate and working capital lines of credit.
Yeah,
Okay.
where with the 504, you can't use that loan for working capital.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that. Yeah. Roderick, you've been a great guest. So much good information. The show is, the segment is over. Can you believe it? You still have a lot to tell.
I still have a lot to talk
we
about.
gotta have
So
you
you
back
to-
on.
We're gonna have you
come
back on because
Yeah.
in January we're gonna do a host of roundtables, and it's gonna be like drilling down how we can get these businesses to the next level.
That's exactly what
So
we need.
we're gonna have you come back
Yeah.
in January.
Yeah.
Good. I'd love to come out.
Great.
So
It's-
give them
yeah.
your email address again.
Yes, it's
And phone
Roderick.
number?
Yep, Roderick.Johnson@sba.gov. And my phone number is 240-997-4024.
And tell them Carl and Sharrarne sent you.
There you go.
It's good to have you on
There
the
you
show,
go.
Roderick.
Yeah,
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Robert.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We'll be right back after these messages here on SiriusXM channel 141. Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM channel 141. We have a special guest in the studio right now, Mr. Ron Lewis, founder and CEO of AtWork.
AtWork. I love it.
AtWork.
AtWork. I
That's
love
right.
it.
Now I want you to tell us what AtWork is, and then we're going to talk about One Link. But talk about AtWork.
Yeah.
Where'd that come up?
Right.
How did you come up with that name?
Yeah. Well, AtWork is a software company, and it's built an innovative platform, a SaaS platform called
SAS.
SaaS.
Okay.
Software as a service,
Okay.
called OneLink. And OneLink is, the way I would best describe it, the next generation of ERP system.
Okay. You
now,
know what
now
you're gonna
you got to break it down for the
Yeah. What are the
folks.
Okay.
acronyms
'Cause they
stand
don't
for?
know.
Okay.
Exactly.
So imagine, if you will, you were starting your business, and you wanted to organize it in such a way that you knew that you needed certain forms. You knew that you needed to be able to do payroll. You needed to be able to buy stuff. You needed to be able to pay your vendors.
Right.
And so OneLink allows you basically to do all of those things in the cloud. We have digitized 90% of what you do in your business and given it to you so that you don't have to install any software.
Wow.
You basically do it all through a URL. And so
So payroll, you just do
Payroll
through a URL.
through a URL.
You don't have to hire
Purchasing.
a payroll company.
Purchasing you can do through a URL. HR you can do through
Wow.
a set of URLs. And the way we've done it, it allows you basically to focus on really running your business,
Yeah.
going out and
Oh,
getting
right.
business. 'Cause
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're going to give you the essential infrastructure you really need to be able to successfully run your business.
Okay, so how does a small business who's listening say, wow, that sounds great.
That's
How
what
do
I
we get
need.
started? This is
Yeah.
what I need. What do they do? How do they get in touch with you? Where do they go?
Well, you just can contact us directly. I have both an internal sales team and an external, sales team. So you can come to our website or call us directly.
Which is?
AtWorkSystems.com.
Okay.
AtWorkSys.com.
Okay.
Okay.
And to get started really is fairly simple.
Yeah. How simple is it?
How
Yes.
you decide really on what platform or what module you want to start with. And typically we have bundles.
Okay.
And so
I don't have to buy everything.
You don't
I
have
can
Right.
just-
to. You don't have to buy.
It's a la carte.
It's
Yeah,
a la
I
carte.
love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so if I just need payroll and
Payroll and HR
it's
is a
a combination.
is a common bundle. We also have an electronic time and expense module. So imagine you've got employees who need to punch a clock,
Right.
And so we have an electronic version of that as well.
So that means the employees can punch the clock on their phones or something,
Can do it on their phone,
or
can
go
do it
online
on a tablet,
on a tablet.
can do it.
That is fantastic.
But see,
I
one
love
thing
it.
that you said that I don't want people to miss
What?
is you can do it in the cloud.
Yeah.
Now explain why that is preferred at this point in time?
Yeah, because most small businesses really don't have the support staff to be able to go out and maintain servers, or do integration work or do custom development. We've done all of that for you. So all you really need to do is focus on what is that core service that you're delivering, and then we provide your IT staff, basically.
Okay, I like that. They provide the IT staff.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason why having it in the cloud is preferred is because then the cybersecurity
That's what
is
I was going
built in.
Right. I was going to ask all about, because we talk about cybersecurity all the time on this show.
That's right.
Yeah, explain how that it's built in.
Let me talk a little bit about that. And especially for those folks who are out there who are GovCon contractors.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the government realizes that, of course, you've heard about Hillary's emails being hacked, right? If they could get her emails, chances are, chances are,
they can get yours.
If there is a small business who has some sensitive information and they know about it, they can get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so cybersecurity has been a heightened concern by, the government. And so one of the things that they've done is they've passed a new standard, the NIST 800-171,
Right.
which
National
lays out
Institutes of Standards and Technology.
Yeah, that's right. Which lays out a whole series of controls that you have to have in place in order to be able to ensure them that you're adequately protecting the information.
Okay.
That is going to be a major hurdle for most small businesses.
Wow.
With
A
the
major hurdle.
With the OneLink platform, we've been in contact with NIST right from the very beginning. We understand the standards. We can make you compliant almost from day one. And so because it's built into the platform. Now there are going to be things that you have to do because we can't do them everything for you around physical security.
Yeah, but you're doing almost everything.
But we can get you a long way there.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. Because I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that if you're not compliant, and the federal government says as of December 1st or January 1st, 2020. You have to be compliant with this standard, and you're not, guess what? You're no longer a government contractor.
Wow.
Yeah, so for some business, it could actually
that could end their business. Yeah,
that
could end their business. I was going to ask you, does this? I know you have many services, and you said the most popular one was the HR and the what was the other one? Payroll. Do you offer accounting services? Every small business needs a good accountant.
Well, let me correct the record. I think that there's a whole suite of modules: accounting, project management, contract management, payroll, HR, procurement, time, expense.
There's a lot.
It's the suite. We have the complete suite. Yeah. So really, depending on where you are and your evolution as a business and how complicated some of the programs are that you want to manage, you then can pick, what makes the most sense for you. If you're a business just starting out, time, expense, maybe accounting, and HR would make the most sense. If you're now up and running and you're 200 or 300 person business, then you might want contracts.
Yeah.
You might want the project management. Right. And so it really depends on where you are in terms of your evolution as a company.
But wherever the company is, you have what they need.
I have what they need. I have what
That's all that matters.
I have what they need.
We're plugging you. We're promoting you because this is some great stuff, Ron. Yeah. Give our audience your website again so that they can get what they need from AtWork.
At AtWork atworksys.com.
Sys, A-S-Y-S, ATWORKSYS.com.
That's it. That's correct.
That's really good, yeah.
So how long have you guys been around?
So the platform has been in development, or the company has been in existence for about 3 years.
You've done all this in 3 years.
You can imagine to build something like this.
I was going to say
can't be done overnight.
3 years is still pretty quickly.
So we've got about 2 million lines of code in our in our suite of applications.
Somebody wasn't getting enough sleep.
Oh yeah.
Ron, okay. I mean, all of this for 3 years.
You gotta be dedicated.
Oh, sacrifice. You got to sacrifice.
You put the business together. Ooh. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you got to put time and effort into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But we all need sleep. I just got off of another show talking about how important sleep is. But it's a good thing. You can maybe rest a little bit now because you have everything that everybody needs. Any small, medium-sized, or large business needs what you have.
Yeah. The other thing that we have done is, obviously, I'm going to operate as your IT department, but through building the product, we have built out a set of resources: accountants, HR people, project managers, who, depending again where you are in your evolution as a company, you might need that expertise as well. And so as you start to do, because our product doesn't just do accounting, it does cost accounting.
Oh, okay.
Which is what you need to be able to do to be able to be a successful GovCon contractor. And so some of that can be pretty nuanced. And so as you are growing as a company and you want to take on more sophisticated programs, especially cost-type contracts, you're doing R&D and maybe you need to be able to do cost contracts, then our product would be well suited to have you do that. But you may need accounting help.
Right.
And we can provide
That's right.
that to you as well.
Great stuff. Great stuff, especially it all being in the cloud and it coming with the cybersecurity built in. That's some great stuff.
Because, compliance is going to be an issue pretty soon.
Yeah.
And if you're not compliant, you just be out of business.
Well, we're going to come right back after these messages. This is some great stuff. I hope you guys will stay tuned right here on the Small Business Report at SiriusXM, Channel 141, HUR Voices.
Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on SiriusXM, Channel 141. And in the studio with us today is founder and CEO of AtWork, Mr. Ron Lewis. So I got a question for you. I got a bunch of questions, but here's one. What are some of the traditional approaches companies take in solving this problem, and describe some of the alternatives?
But Carl, before we ask him that, can we ask Ron why he decided to even start this company in OneLink? What prompted you to even create it, and and why now?
Right.
Yeah.
So I've spent the last 2 decades really as an executive in larger firms. So I have built my career as an engineer first, and then as a program manager, then as a division general manager. So I've kind of had a P&L responsibility, and then the CIO and the CTO of companies.
Chief Information Officer, Chief Technology Officer.
So
you got to spell out the acronyms.
So I've grown my my career, and in doing all of those roles, I have almost always had to work pretty closely with small businesses.
Okay.
And in integrating those small businesses, because I've run very large programs, it was always a challenge to get them to have the kind of capability and the infrastructure they needed to perform.
You saw that firsthand.
I saw it firsthand. I saw, great engineers, but they maybe didn't have what they needed to be able to deliver on the kind of programs that we were running.
Yeah.
And so I've lived it, I've understood it. And then 3 years ago, I took the plunge and started a small business. And so I'm living it every day in terms of some of the challenges that you need to be able to get a small business up and running. And so OneLink really was a response to, if you had a bunch of money, you could work with some investors and go out and build something innovative that was a game changer. That's what OneLink is.
Okay.
It's a result of that.
Yeah.
Well, from what you're saying, and I can see where the product itself can help small businesses go to the next level, because a lot of them struggle with the basics of they don't have payroll, they don't know how to do payroll, they're struggling with it, Hiring folks is a struggle.
Oh, and keeping good folks. And
we
always talk
about
every time.
Every week we hear about that. I can't keep good folks, but and some of these tools are a way that you will keep good folks because they will see that you're at a different level.
Yeah.
So
your
what are
other
some
question,
of the traditional approaches companies take to solving these problems?
So imagine you and I just started, right? We probably have a handful of people. In order to run our business, we don't need a whole lot of infrastructure at that point. We probably are, maybe outsource payroll. We might have spreadsheets that allow us to track our programs. But eventually we start to grow and, we start to build our corporate resume. And traditionally, companies would take an approach where they would, look at buying a point solution, maybe like a QuickBooks, to be able to, address, their needs. They start to open up that second office, that third office, and they begin to outgrow that platform. Typically, they will take one or two approaches. They will invest if they have some IT capability and building some homegrown capability, or they'll go back out to the market and pick a series of solutions. So you'll see, a solution for accounting. You'll see a solution for HR, maybe a solution for an expense. But they still don't have the capability to be able to integrate all of that. So that creates some challenges.
I'm going to tell you.
Definitely, yeah.
I've seen that with small business, but I've also seen that with local government.
Right, Carl. Local government can use your help too, right, Ron?
They can.
You don't discriminate, right?
So the big guys, what they have done in terms of just being able to solve that problem is they've traditionally looked at something called an ERP, system. It's a bundled suite of applications that allow you to be able to solve some of the, the problems. The problem with taking that approach with some of the small businesses is those products are very expensive.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been involved in doing, in my career, probably 6 or 7 of those programs. The cheapest probably was $10 million.
Wow.
All the way up to 100, over
Are
100
they
million.
that expensive?
Over up to 100 million.
I'm going to say this, though. I've worked with government agencies, both as a contractor and an employee, where they did the a la carte, and the systems that they bought were all wrong for the agency.
Wow.
And you're going, well,
and they paid
why
that
did
money.
you buy this one and not this module?
Right, yeah.
And they well, I didn't know about that one, or that's not their discipline.
Right, yeah.
They were in HR, so they bought the HR suite.
Yeah.
But the whole procurement contract and everything else that they really needed, they didn't buy.
So does your company help with that, Ron? Help people decide or choose the right product for them?
Here's another innovation that we have introduced. Because I've been involved, and my team has been involved in implementing these types of solutions, they typically take a long time to build out, to customize, and to get them to fit that particular business. And so we studied that very carefully. And we said, well, we can't afford that approach for a small business.
Right.
And so we built this component called the Solution Manager. Think about this is where artificial intelligence and machine learning comes in.
All right.
We interview,
that's what I'm talking about.
we interview the principals of the company. We understand how they want to operate the company.
Yeah.
And based on the answers that they give us to the interview questions, the software configures the module for them.
That it's like a
okay.
custom made module.
But what is really neat is you don't write any code.
It's already done.
It's no code.
Wow.
It's no code.
No code. And so that approach is required to be able to build out the kind of capability that we're trying to deliver to a small business. Because it's once we start to get into where we have to write code to customize everything that business wants to do. And it's, again, I could I could give a whole lecture for hours on how we came to that,
Right.
how we came to that solution. But it is probably the most innovative thing about our product.
Yeah, that is
Let me tell you,
very
I
innovative.
spent the past couple of days talking about innovation in AI.
Yeah.
Artificial
AI,
intelligence.
Artificial intelligence in small businesses.
Yeah.
And if they're not ready to go in that direction, they will be out of business.
Wow. Left behind.
I think one of the things that, I also recognized is just because you're small doesn't mean that you can't be sophisticated.
That's right.
Exactly.
I think-
Yeah.
I love it.
I think as you look at trying to build out, your capability, I encourage small businesses to really reach, because that's the thing that's going to allow them to be competitive and continue to win and continue to grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a commercial out now, or it's either a commercial or I heard it on the radio the other day, though. It talked about a guy that says, well, if he wants to be cheap, he'll be out of a job. And they were talking about a CEO. That if he wanted to have a call center with a whole bunch of people, which is now obsolete because they have AI doing the call centers.
Yeah. Wow.
And say, well, if this guy's going to keep going down using that model, he'll be out of a job.
Yeah.
Here's the analogy that I give. If you look at building your company, and as you start to try to solve some of the the issues of having the infrastructure, and you throw a lot of people at it, which a lot of small businesses do, right? Because they don't want to invest in technology.
Right.
Ultimately, you find yourself in a position where you're no longer going to be very competitive.
That's right.
I'm offering you an alternative
Yeah.
to taking that approach and building your business. And ultimately, I think it's going to be one that's going to serve you well, because it's going to make your business better. It's going to make it more competitive, and it's going to build out your capabilities a lot sooner.
Oh, yeah, a lot faster.
Yeah, we're having to close out the show, but you couldn't have had a better ending, Ron, in telling our listeners what it is that they can get when they go to AtWorkSYS.com, right?
And it's not that expensive.
And it's not that
It's not that
expensive. So
expensive.
so we've got to wrap up. We're about to close out the show.
Well, that's
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week with expert advice and vital information you need to grow out your business.
Mhm. Don't forget to visit dcsbdc.org too.
That's right. Or call us 202-806-1550.
Yep, you can hear this and all of our shows on HUR Voices SiriusXM Channel 141 every Thursday at 12 noon. And we rebroadcast on Fridays, Sundays, and Mondays. And like us on Facebook, visit our Instagram page, and follow us on Twitter at SMBiz, B-I-Z Report. Thanks again for tuning in.
This has been Carl Brown and Sharrarne Morton, giving you all the tools you need to succeed on the Small Business Report. Thank you for listening, and be sure to tune in next week at HUR Voices on SiriusXM Channel 141. Please don't forget to like us on Facebook. And for more tips on starting, growing, and financing your business, visit us at thesmallbusinessreport.biz.